Hold on. I don't want to record in progress.
Oh, so
Yeah.
next, maybe cancel it, and then we'll redo it, and I won't touch it until you're ready. I'm sorry.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
What is happening?
It's, I made the meeting, but he's operating through his account. So I have the capability of recording, meaning I have to approve it, I guess. I didn't think that was the case last year, but
I can't.
Technology produces shirt. Oh my
Oh,
god, that is a good shirt.
thank you, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I need a new one of these, because the other ones I wear, they get one out, seriously. Way too much, just all the time.
Is there a microphone? All right.
Okay, well, since I can't turn the recording off, so I guess we'll just edit it later. Malia, did we just want to go ahead and get right into it?
Oh,
She is muted.
Yes, let me share my screen and we can get started.
Yeah, no problem. I gotta get your volume turned up as much as I can get it. There we go. That's what you get.
All right, can y'all see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see you just fine. And joining us from Samford University is someone many people in this room know and love very much. Did a bunch of research at La Selva Biological Institution in the mountains of Costa Rica. Went on to reforest big swaths of rainforest in the Costa Rican wilderness, making it all happen out of defunct farmland. Coming to talk to us about how to get into research as an undergrad and postgrad, our beloved Dr. Malia Fincher.
Thank you so much, Bryant. So glad to be back talking with y'all today. Thank you for the invitation. I have been lucky enough to run 2 different summer programs that were programs that brought students from all over the country and the world to do research at various places, including Costa Rica. And I was so happy to be able to be involved in these programs that I really just want to spread the word that these programs are out there, and also just generally talk about internships and how to connect with people and get those opportunities. So I will be happy to take questions as we go through, which is a little bit harder on Zoom. I don't even know if I can see the chat window right now, but maybe we can save questions for the end, but I'm totally happy to answer questions. All right, first question might be, why would you want to do research? You have many options for how to spend your summers, for how to spend your off time. Why in the world would you want to do an internship or a research experience? Probably the first bullet should be earn some money, because ideally you're going to get paid to do this and you should be paid well. The days of the unpaid internship hopefully are over, because that was a pretty exploitative system. The big privilege filter, like you could only do an unpaid internship if you could afford to do an unpaid internship. And so companies and other institutions should pay you to do research, to have an internship, to get these kinds of experiences. So you should earn money. You should make connections that are super valuable for you. It should really help you to decide on a career path, or even if you know your career path, to focus your interests more precisely. Maybe you know you love conservation, but you have no idea if you want to work with bats or watersheds or forests. So it can help you to figure out what you really love. It can help you network with your peers. It's really great to have a supportive network of people your age who are going to come up with you as you move through your career. It can help you connect with opportunities for graduate school or professional school. And often you'll see that internships lead to direct job offers so that you come out of an internship with an offer for a job out of graduation, after graduation. So when we talk about internships, summer jobs, research experiences, the first question is often, what's the difference between those three things? And sometimes it's really just vocabulary. It's what you call them. There may not be that much difference between an internship, a job, or a research experience. However, sometimes they can be really different. So sometimes you can have an experience that really focuses on your professional development, and they are very much interested in helping you to prepare for your next step. They're going to talk to you about your resume. They're going to talk to you about LinkedIn. They're going to talk to you about, let me introduce you to this other person. That is really great professional development for you. Other experiences, they just want you to put in 40 hours a week. You're going to get great skills, but you won't necessarily get the same breadth of professional development. So you can see some variability there. How do you pick? What do you want to do? Well, I think the most important thing for how to choose what you want to do with your free time is, what's your eventual career goal? Or do you know? Because if you don't know what your career goal is yet, like what kind of environment you might want to work in. Do you want to work for a nonprofit? Do you want to work for the government? Maybe you want to work for the Forest Service, or maybe you're interested in a defense agency like the FBI, CIA. Maybe you want to go work for a corporation. Maybe you're interested in being a consultant. Maybe you have no clue, right? So maybe you're interested in academics. Maybe you want to get a PhD and do research. How do you figure that out? One way to sort of dip your toe into all those activities and figure out what you love is to do these kinds of jobs, internships, and research experiences. And you may come away from some of them saying, man, that was a good experience and I got a good recommendation, but now I know I do not want to work for the CIA. And that's not unusual. It's pretty common to do an experience, get something great out of it, but kind of it narrows your career field for you. And that's an informative thing. That's a good thing. So each kind of opportunity has benefits, strengths, weaknesses. What might you want to look for when you're looking for how to spend your free time? One would be valuable skills. Like, are you getting hands-on experience doing something that you think will be valuable to your career track? That would be like direct career stuff. But then there's also the transferable skills. And if you don't know what transferable skills are, those are the things that are not necessarily, like, it's not math if you're a math major, it's not biology if you're a biology major, but it's things that you need to work with other people. It's skills that you may need to apply to any kind of job. So I was at a fantastic networking event recently, and I sat down at a table with a couple of hiring managers out of industry, right? They were in the chemical industry. And I just said, what do you look for in interns that you're hiring and in new employees who are fresh out of college? And they said, okay, first, we want them to have done some kind of research or internship experience. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Second, we look for emotional intelligence. And I was kind of floored. And I said, well, how do you see that on a resume? Like, how do you let somebody know that you have emotional intelligence if you're looking for a job or an internship? And they said, well, we're looking for places where they've collaborated with other people. We're looking for where they worked as a team. They've done group projects. They have smoothly and seamlessly managed to get through a difficult situation with other people, right? Even if they have to work hard to get through that difficult situation, they manage it. And they said they love to ask questions that are situational. Like, tell us a time when you were working on a group project and one of your group members didn't do their job. How did you handle it and what was the outcome? So those are the kind of things that you can think about as you're going into a job, internship, research experience, as you're looking for one. You can think about, okay, am I getting valuable career experience in my field? And what kind of transferable skills am I going to be getting that I can showcase on my resume or in interviews. You're also looking for potential mentors. So mentors can sort of make or break your career pathway. And I say that from personal experience. So many people have gone out of their way to help me out, and it's an amazing thing. A good mentor is going to help you with career development. They're going to connect you with other people. They're going to put opportunities in your path. So mentoring is absolutely incredibly valuable. And if you can get a internship or research position with a good mentor, jump on it. Direct professional development. Like I said, a good experience, a good internship, they may be really focused on helping you develop. They want you to grow. They want you to come out of there with a better resume, better interview skills, better collaboration skills. So look for those professional development opportunities. Some experiences will actually help you study for the GRE or help you study for the MCAT or help you get a certification, maybe a GIS certification. And all of those are really valuable. So look for those professional development opportunities. That shows you that that program is not just trying to get you to work 40 hours, it's trying to actually help you develop as a future professional. Networking, again, if y'all were in the same room as me, I would ask how many people think networking is like a dirty word. It's sort of a 4-letter word, like, ugh, networking. I don't want to have to do that. I used to think of it that way too, but the best way I can give you to approach networking is just think about it as being curious and asking people about what they do. What do you love about your job is my favorite question in networking, because it lets people light up about what they love. And if you learn how to network really well in an internship, in a summer job, in a research experience, that can give you so many benefits in the future. You never know who's going to need to hire you a year down the road, or who wants to offer you a position in their lab, on their team, in their consulting group. So take every opportunity you can to network at any of these summer positions or part-time positions, and look for positions that will offer you networking opportunities. So are they going to send you to a conference? Do you get to go out and meet with other professionals? Are you going to get to collaborate with other professionals? Those are good opportunities. And if you're working for a company, sometimes they will come out and say, there's a possibility we will hire you after graduation. So in that case, that can be a great option. And that might steer you towards an internship rather than a research experience. If you're looking for a direct job offer after graduation, think about jumping into an internship. Okay, so these apply to whatever experience you're looking at, whether it's an internship, a research experience, a summer job, a part-time job. If they can meet all of these needs, you have found a really great experience. Make sure they're paying you as well. Okay, so how do you get out there and find an internship? Because that can be a little daunting. First bit of advice is just tell everyone you're looking for an internship. Tell your teachers, tell your professors, tell your career development center if you have a career development center on campus. Tell your parents' friends, tell your friends and your friends' friends. Ask people to spread the word for you, and don't be shy about it. I mean, you don't have to directly ask people for something. You can just let people know that you are looking for work, looking for an opportunity. Second step, and I think everyone needs this, is a LinkedIn. And if y'all were in the room with me, I would ask you how many have a LinkedIn. I hope it's everybody. But what I have noticed, at least at my university, is that the computer scientists, all the computer science students, they are great at LinkedIn. They are on LinkedIn like every day. They are posting, they are networking. Biology is terrible at LinkedIn. And I don't know why. The biology students are like, yeah, I think I went on there once and I made a profile, but I don't have a picture and I didn't put anything up there. Get on LinkedIn and make yourself a really good LinkedIn. So I'm going to share a link to this presentation, and there are some hot links in here. If you clicked on this LinkedIn one here, it's just going to take you to a really basic, like, get started with LinkedIn resource that shows you how to get started making a good LinkedIn as a college student. If you can use LinkedIn well, it can really work in your favor, because I guarantee you that everybody you apply to anything, I can't make that sentence work out. If you apply to any job or internship, any graduate school, any professional school, they're going to look you up both on social media and on LinkedIn. So one, make your social media look good and make it like presentable for your grandma. And two, make your LinkedIn look good and make it shine. So the basic setup on LinkedIn is you go get a profile, you put up your picture, and then you upload your resume. Easy peasy, especially if you have taken your resume over to your career development center and have them polish the resume ahead of time, right? Because you don't want to upload an outdated resume. So polish up your resume, put it up on LinkedIn. But then the key step after that is you are going to become like a social media influencer, but for your career track. So you're going to go share things on LinkedIn. You're going to repost. You might share an article about current happenings in your field, a cool new development or new finding in your field. You might share a post about today's workshop. You might share a picture of today's workshop, like, hey, went to a cool workshop today, love the professional development activities here at the college. You might share somebody else's post about an upcoming workshop that you want people to know about. But essentially what you're trying to do is establish credibility for yourself as somebody who's really engaged with your career track. So if you want to be a geographer and you're really interested in GIS, you should be reposting something about GIS at least once or twice a week. And that would probably take you all of 30 seconds, right? It's easy to find something to repost. But if you do that for 2 years, you have 100 or 200 posts about GIS, and that really establishes you as somebody who is engaged with your field. So you want to be that person who looks like really engaged. Actually, you want to be the person who is really engaged. And if you actually read all those articles that you repost, you will really have some knowledge, right? You'll have some expertise. So use LinkedIn to your advantage. Be that sort of influencer where you're going to sort of harness the power of LinkedIn to show that you are engaged with your field. But also you can go search for jobs and internships on LinkedIn because there are plenty of companies out there posting opportunities. And you know if they've posted on LinkedIn that they have an open opportunity. So it saves you some time as opposed to something like cold calling the company and asking if they're taking interns. Check jobs boards. I don't know if y'all have a job posting board on the website for your career development center, but we do at my university. And I had a student tell me last week she got a really great internship that way, and they were going to offer her a job after graduation. So check those jobs boards. You can go check other universities' job boards too, as long as they're not password protected. Like check the other bigger universities in your area too. And then you can cold call companies. If you want to work for an environmental consulting company, go look up all the environmental consulting companies in your area, stop by and give them your resume and tell them you're looking for an internship. Or email them with a copy, a really nice short email and a copy of your resume and ask if they are accepting interns. So there's a lot of great ways to connect with people and potentially find internships. How about if you want a research experience? Because those can be a little more intimidating to find. So the cool thing about these research experiences is a lot of them are national or international. Many of them are going to pay really well. They are going to provide you with money for room and board and travel, which is astonishing. And they're going to be really focused on your career development, mentoring, networking, all the things you need. So I can't say enough good things about these programs. There are many, many, many programs like this out there. Many of them are dedicated to increasing representation of underrepresented groups in science or STEM. And what that means is everybody from first generation college students, Pell Grant eligible or low income college students, minorities, and whether you're a minority in certain fields depends on what field you're in. We certainly need more women in chemistry, but we don't necessarily have an underrepresentation of women in biology. So minorities, people with disabilities, veterans, the list goes on, right? But all of those groups are underrepresented in STEM disciplines. And so a lot of these programs that you're going to see are primarily dedicated to increasing representation by those underrepresented groups. But that does not mean you can't apply if you are not an underrepresented group, right? Like if everyone should apply for these. You just have a little bit of a leg up potentially if you are from an underrepresented group. So if you are a first generation college student, you might have a little bit better chance of getting into one of these programs. But I'll tell you something that's in your favor. Community college students are underrepresented in science. So just by being enrolled where you're enrolled, you automatically have a leg up. They really want more community college students to come engage with these research programs. So they want you, you just have to apply. Okay, so how do you find these programs? One is sometimes you see individual faculty members at a university applying that they have funds for a summer student. And they might advertise that. And I'll talk in a second about where to find those advertisements. You also see whole programs, and this is going to be a whole cohort of students. It might be like 8 to 20 students or even more at one university. And many of those programs are funded by a program called the REU program. And you'll see that right here. I'll talk about that in a second. Those are great. And then you'll see research internships at other kinds of venues that are not universities. So nonprofits, the Nature Conservancy, they offer really cool summer research internships. Government agencies, the Forest Service, the National Park Service, all like the CDC, the CIA, all of those agencies, Department of Defense, they offer summer research programs, and they are incredibly competitive and really good paying. Industry often has similar things. So if you're interested in pharmaceutical development for the chemical industry, they certainly have summer internship programs. So you can target what you're interested in. These are some searches that I like to help find actual places to apply. So over here on the left, my absolute favorite one is the National Science Foundation REU program. And that stands for Research Experience for Undergraduates. And the REU program is really cool because it pays usually about $6,000 to $6,500 per summer, plus room and board and travel. So these pay better than any summer job you're going to get. They are required to do a lot of professional development stuff with you. They are required to do good mentoring. These programs are like gold star, top of the line. You can find them directly, and I'll show you in a second how to find them on their website, because there's a whole REU listing that'll help you find all of the available programs. There is an aggregator that lists other programs called Pathways to Science. Great way to find a whole bunch of programs you might want to apply for. There is another one called Web Guru. I'm going to come back to this Ecolog one in a second. But there's another aggregator called Web Guru that just lists a whole bunch of programs for you to apply for. The American Association of Medical Colleges has really good listings of summer undergraduate programs for students that are interested in medical careers. Council on Undergraduate Research, tons of different STEM disciplines on there, and even non-STEM disciplines. There's specific entities that have listings too, like the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Energy, National Institute of Health, which is up by y'all, individual universities. So if you really want, say maybe you're from Kentucky and you want to spend the summer back home in Kentucky, you might Google Kentucky summer internship programs, right? Or Kentucky summer research programs. Some of the big companies, like I mentioned in the chemical industry, like Merck, pharmaceutical industry, they have summer internships. We have a sort of biotech incubator here in Alabama called Hudson Alpha, and they have a whole summer research program. There's other entities like that out there. The National Park Service has one called Mosaics in Science. And then there's all kinds of nonprofits like Nature Conservancy, conservation organizations. Probably some of your local Chesapeake Bay organizations will have summer research programs as well. All right, so let's zoom into this one that I skipped. The third one down here on the left is Ecolog. And Ecolog is a really cool resource. It's really the only thing like it that I know of. This is an email listserv that anybody in the community of Ecolog can contribute to, and it pushes that email out to everyone else in the community. So you have to subscribe. And once you subscribe, you get this sort of deluge of emails, because there's maybe 8 to 30 emails a day that come out to this listserv from the members of the listserv. And most of those emails are scholarship opportunities, summer research opportunities, summer job opportunities, in general job opportunities, grants that you can apply for, PhD programs or master's programs that have funding to pay you to come to go to grad school. So a lot of things are advertised on this community. And also people just ask cool questions out there. They'll be like, hey, I'm trying to solve this problem. I need a piece of field equipment that'll do this and this and this. Does anybody have recommendations? In general, it's just a great supportive community. This is primarily for ecologists. So it is hosted by the Ecological Society of America, ESA. But because it's the only thing like it out there, it really gets a lot of adjacent community members too, a lot of biologists, even some cell and molecular people, a whole lot of environmental science people, consulting kind of people like that. Even geology, like a lot of people use this listserv because other communities like geology and chemistry don't really have the same level of community. So this is a super resource. The jobs are going to start showing up for next summer, like very soon. October, November, December, there's this huge flood of postings, and those postings are going to continue on through the spring. You'll get people posting last minute offers if they get, last minute needs for students to come and work for them. So this is a great way not only to get an internship or a summer job, but to get an academic year part-time job, or to get a job after graduation if you want to go try out a certain kind of work. I had a friend who, when she graduated undergrad, she knew she wanted to go to grad school in biology, but she didn't know what she wanted to study. So she got on Ecolog and she found a job working with bats in the southwestern US, one working with monkeys in Panama. She went to Southeast Asia and worked on insects. She worked on plants somewhere in the neotropics. She went everywhere. She ended up falling in love with the bats, went to grad school, got her PhD working with bats, and now is a professor doing bat ecology. So this can be a really fun way to get paid to travel the world doing field work. So check out Ecolog. When you go to sign up, you're going to go to this page, and I put a link on the previous page to get you there. Go to this page. You want to create a web account and sign up for the free version, because you don't have to pay to join the Ecological Society of America just to get access to Ecolog. You can get free access. So subscribe to Ecolog. My other piece of advice is subscribe to the Daily Digest. That digest is just a list of all the postings of the day. That way you don't get each individual email all day long, right? You just get one list of all the things that came out today. It's the better way to go, unless you really love getting emails all day long. Okay, so now let's zoom in on that program that I was raving about, the National Science Foundation REU program, the Research Experience for Undergraduates program. And if you go to Google, or the link that I provided 2 slides back, and type in NSF-REU, you're going to get, the first option is going to be here, which is like the REU page for students. And it'll link you to this search for an REU site option. What you'll see is they have REUs in every kind of STEM discipline you could think of: math, engineering, earth science, computer science, chemistry, biology, oceanography, marine science, like the list goes on. So, oh, and they also oversee all Antarctic research. So if you have a hankering to spend the spring down in Antarctica as a summer research student there, they will pay for you to do that, which is unbelievable. I have a friend that did it and had a wonderful time. So all Antarctic research falls under their purview as well. Okay, so if you go look at this site, if you pull up biological sciences, you're going to see that they have about 120 to 150 biology sites at any given time. When I took this screenshot, there were 149 sites in biology. That's biology alone. There's more in chemistry and physics and so on. Each one of these sites probably takes 6 to 15 students every summer. So that's a lot of students. It's not that many students though, right? So these programs are competitive. Most students who apply to one and get in have applied to about 10 of them. So you may want to hedge your bets and apply to 10 or 20 of your favorite programs. The applications are all pretty similar. So once you get rolling and you get all your application materials together, you can just plug those into 10 or 20 different programs pretty easily. You do want to take it really seriously because, like I said, they are super competitive. There are some hints on how to get into them. Some programs are more competitive than others. So if it's super sexy, like if you're sailing on a wooden sailboat, counting dolphins in Miami Bay, there's probably going to be a lot of competition for that, right? If you are somewhere in the Midwest doing biochemistry in a lab, there may or may not be as much competition. Harvard Forest, very famous, very long-lasting REU site. Last time I checked, they got 1,200 applicants a year for 8 slots, so very competitive. The newer funded ones, the ones that haven't been around as long, they tend to be a lot less competitive. They get less applicants because less people know about them. So there's the big hint. Go get on Ecolog, right? Get that email every day telling you what was posted to Ecolog. The new programs for the RU program that are going to get funded in January, they're going to start advertising for students January, February, even March. They've never existed before, right? So they're brand new. Nobody knows about them. They're trying to get the word out really fast. If you're on Ecolog and you're one of the first students to apply for a brand new RU program, you have a really good chance of getting in. So keep an eye out for those newly funded programs because they're your best chance of getting in. But that's not to say don't, definitely apply to some of the aspirational programs too. If you're interested in the Harvard Forest program, apply for it. Just hedge your bets too. Okay, so what does the application process look like for you? 1, their deadlines are going to be firm. 2, it may benefit you to apply as early as you can. Don't wait till that application deadline. Some of them have rolling admissions and they're going to take the best students that apply first. They are trying to pick the best students for their program, so you have to persuade them that you are the best choice. One way to do that is to check out the list of potential research mentors, figure out which one you really are interested in, and send them a quick email mentioning how interested in their research you are. Mention something specific. I read your paper about X, Y, and Z. I was so interested in what you did. I'm hoping to come and do research with you this summer and applying to your program. I'm attaching my resume. Please let me know if you'd like to follow up and have a quick phone meeting, right? That's all it takes. Contact your prospective mentor. That can really help so they know who you are. Oh, one last piece of advice there. So if you do actually chat with a potential research mentor or a potential internship mentor, if you can make it an in-person chat, do it. If you can't, try to make it a video chat, like try to make it Zoom. And the reason for that is you become like a real person to them and they feel like they know you, at least a little bit, right? Like they've seen your face, they've seen your expressions, you become more of a real person. They are much more likely to like you and accept you to their program once they know your face. So if you can get to where you're face to face with them, it can be a real leg up for you. Okay, what are they looking for in your application? So have a great personal statement. We'll talk about that in a minute because that can be awkward. If you've got previous research experience, mention it. And you probably do, even if you don't know you do, because you've all done stuff in classes, right? You've all done projects. You've all got experience in labs. Experience is experience. It doesn't have to be paid experience. It doesn't have to be summer experience. If you have like a substantial project that you did in a class or a big lab that you worked on for a period of time, put that on your resume, put that on your LinkedIn. Let them know you have experience doing your discipline because that can go a long way towards showing them that you are going to succeed in their program. So again, experience is experience. It doesn't have to be paid to count. Pick some good recommenders. Letters of recommendation should really be a strength for you. Don't ask somebody you don't know well to be a letter of recommendation writer. So sadly, I teach a lot of our freshman classes, and almost every year I have a student come to me at the end of their junior year when they're applying to med school, and they say, Dr. Fincher, can you write me a letter of recommendation? I'm like, I have not seen you in 3 years. I had you first semester freshman year. I don't even know who you are anymore, right? I don't know you very well at all, and I cannot vouch for you in a letter of recommendation. So when you're asking people for letters, pick somebody who really knows you, who you know will vouch for you, and it can really help to give them a summary of your accomplishments. Like I ask my students, like, tell me what you're proud of, tell me what you're good at, send me a copy of your resume. Let me know what you've been up to in the last little while if I haven't seen you. I want to make sure that I can say good things about what they're doing now, and I really can confirm their own assessment of their strengths. So it helps to give your professors at least your resume when you ask them to write you a letter of recommendation. They may or may not look at your grades. Sometimes your grades don't matter as much as the other components of your application. For some programs, your grades really matter. So that's harder to predict. They're also going to look for something that makes you different or interesting. So maybe you spent 2 years before you went to college working for Knowles or Outward Bound or Habitat for Humanity, or you worked as a nanny in Europe, or you opened your own landscaping business, or anything that's cool and different about you can really make you stand out, because they're just going to get a sea of applications of students who are very similar. So anything you've done that you think would be interesting, even if it's not directly relevant to your career track, can make you stand out in a little way and can make you a potentially interesting member of their team, which is what they want. Okay, so really read that website for the program you're applying to and make sure you know it inside and out. We talked already about how to contact potential mentors and send them a quick email with your resume. Make sure you meet all the guidelines. And my advice to my students is set up a big spreadsheet that has all of your programs. Each row in the spreadsheet is a program you're applying to. And you have due dates. How many letters? Who are you asking for letters? When are the letters due? What else do you have to turn in? Do you need a personal statement? Do you need a resume? Do you need your transcript? Make sure that you go through and check off every single thing that's required, and then confirm with the program that they have your full application, because you don't want to not get into a program because you forgot to send a transcript, or because one of your recommenders forgot to send their letter. Speaking of that, I'm going to speak for other recommenders and say, you should pester us. Like, you should nag us until we get those letters in. I tell my students, like, if it's 2 days before the letter's due and I haven't submitted, like, come to my house, come stand in my office with me until I submit it. Call me. Just feel free to pester your recommenders. Make sure you do everything they ask. And one way that you can do this that's really new and easy is paste all of the requirements into something like ChatGPT. Let AI work for you. Paste all the application requirements from their website, and then paste your application below it and ask ChatGPT to serve as a hiring manager and evaluate your application and make sure that it is complete and thorough and competitive. And ask ChatGPT what might make your application more competitive, and you can ask ChatGPT to help you edit that application. But make sure you feed it the directions first, right? Paste in the directions that from the program website, and then ask ChatGPT to help you edit your writing. You can paste everything in there, right? Like, you can paste your whole resume in, you can paste your personal statement, you can paste it all. So that is one way to make sure that you haven't forgotten some little thing that their website asked for as you were writing your personal statement or something. ChatGPT is also a gift in writing cover letters. You can feed it all that information and just ask it to help you write a cover letter. You edit it up and you're good to go. You also probably have a writing center on campus and a career development center. Show your application to both of them, because that can really be make or break. Like, that can help you get into a program versus not. My last piece of advice is a lot of these programs are going to have like websites where you fill in individual windows for the different components of your application. Write it in a word processor, write it in Docs or something, and then paste it into that website, because you don't want to type like 1,000-word personal statement into that little box and then have it crash or something when you press submit. So make sure you save a copy of your application and make sure you've saved it somewhere else. Okay, how do you write a personal statement? This can feel weird. It can feel kind of braggy, because you do need to brag about yourself, right? Like, you're telling them why they should accept you to their program. So how do you do that without feeling weird? So you want to give them a really clear statement of why you want to go and why you're going to do well once you're there. So tell them about your career interests. And this doesn't necessarily have to start with like, since I was a kid, I've wanted to be a doctor. But it can if that's your personal story, right? Like you can go as far back as is relevant for your career. It doesn't necessarily have to be cheesy. You can, you can say that you had a really pivotal moment with your third grade science teacher where they just like lit up your brain and you've wanted to do science ever since. You followed that up by getting engaged with research in high school. You did a science fair project, and then you got to college and you met this great professor who became your mentor, right? That's a good storytelling kind of linkage that progresses to where you want to go. And that's the next thing you're going to do is you're going to tell them what you want to do, what your ambitions are. So that's sort of where your story's going, right? You're going to tell them how you got here, why you want to do what you want to do, why you're going to be great in their program, why you're going to benefit from their program, and then how that's going to take you to your career goal. You really want to be a cardiac surgeon, and this program is going to help you develop X, Y, and Z skills that you think will be invaluable as you progress in that direction. Okay, so this should be personal for you. It shouldn't be like generic. You don't have to have some huge story that, you had childhood cancer and that made you want to be a doctor. Like it can be something small, like you just loved your teacher. And as long as it's true and real for you, that is way better than like a gigantic story, right? So make it real. And then make it good. Like edit it, proofread it, take it to the CDC, the Career Development Center, take it to your writing center, run it by ChatGPT, have the AI edit it for you, like make it good. Okay, so you're probably going to have an interview then. If this is a local opportunity, you can probably expect an in-person interview. If it is not local and you're going to travel for it, you can expect a Zoom interview or some other like video call. And prep for those video interviews just like you were doing face-to-face. And I linked a link here, so I'm going to send this file out to y'all. This is my university's Career Development Center. They have some great advice on how to prepare for interviews. Practice questions, what kind of questions you can expect, how to set yourself up for success, like physically and in your environment. So treat those Skype interviews very seriously. And your university may have a room, like a carrel at the library or somewhere at the Career Development Center, that is set up for video interviews where you can have a nice quiet space with a professional background to do your interview. You don't really want to be in the middle of a cafeteria with your headphones in trying to yell over the noise, right? So try to find a nice place. When you do that interview, you should also be prepared to ask some really engaged questions of your own, both because you probably want to know the answers and because it shows that you have done your homework. So if you're doing a research project or an internship, you might want to ask about what your project would be. Would I be designing a new project? Would I be jumping into an existing project? Who would I be working with on a daily basis? Will my mentor be my day-to-day supervisor, or would I be working with somebody else? What's my final product? Do I make a poster? Do I have a data set? Do I do a presentation? Do I write a paper? Or if it's an internship, like, what's the end point of the internship? What's my outcome? So who's my mentor? How large is the group I'd be working with? That's a really relevant question. What does that group look like? Is it grad students and postdocs and people with PhDs and professors? Is it other consultants? Is it professionals at the Park Service? Who am I working with? This is a tough one. So when I talk about address any limitations, there are laws about disabilities, and people cannot discriminate against you if you have a disability. Most often with my students, their limitation is like, my family's going to the beach for a week in June. Can I take off a week from my internship or research experience? And what I tell them is probably not, but it can't hurt to ask. Maybe wait to ask until they've offered you the job though, because you don't want to put that right out there in front. I'm only working for 6 weeks, but can I take a week off? Does not send a good message, right? So I should edit this point here at the end to be careful. You don't have to violate the law and allow discrimination against yourself if you do have physical limitations. Like if you're applying for a field work job and you have mobility limitations, they're still not allowed to discriminate against you. So be careful how you handle that. And I'm sure you have a disability resources office at your university. I would consult with them before you do an interview if you think your disability is relevant to an interview, just to make sure you know your rights within the law. Okay, what to expect when you get there. So if you're doing an internship or a research experience, you're either going to get into that internship or experience and design a new project, or you're going to be plugged into an existing project with a team. You can definitely expect to work with a team, but also to take responsibility for your own experience. Like you're going to have to be, to some degree, like self-motivated, show up for work on time, you do the stuff that you're supposed to do, ask good questions, pay attention, engage your brain. Like this is your opportunity to really shine and to showcase that you would be a great future colleague, right? Because you want them to offer you a job at the end of this. So maybe expect to do some prep in advance. Like you may have to read a little bit about the research you're doing or read a little bit about the company you're working for. Know your stuff before you show up on the first day of work, because it can be really embarrassing if you show up and have no idea what that company does, right? If they provide housing, definitely expect to have a roommate or a housemate or an apartment mate. Expect that you probably can't leave and go on vacation unless you negotiate that, before the program starts. Expect like a 40-hour work week or more. Like this is going to be an intense program. A lot of the residential like REU programs that pay so well, they're going to have evening activities. They're going to have professional development stuff, field trips, cool, opportunities to go places. Take advantage of those. Like expect it to be a more than full-time thing. And expect it to be super fun because you're going to be hanging out with other people who are interested and engaged and fun. You're going to have great mentors. You're going to get to go explore a new place, a new work culture, figure out if you like it. Like, hopefully it's going to be an amazing thing. And that is the end of my presentation. So I would love it if y'all would like to unmute and ask questions. And I'm going to escape out of this so I can see the chat window too. And Brian, I think you're still muted.
Sorry, my mouse broke.
Oh.
Okay.
Anybody for questions? Yeah, go right ahead.
So ideally, you would be applying to ones that you're interested in, but how many how many applications do you think would be good to send out at one time?
Oh, okay. So are we talking research experiences or
Okay.
internships?
Research experience.
I tell my students to aim for 10 to 20. And I think that kind of depends on your current course load, your current workload, like what your life looks like right now. Are you a caregiver? That can get complex. So if you can only apply for 3, choose the 3 that you think you are most likely to get into, right? Like choose newly funded programs, smaller programs, programs that really fit your interest in your career. If you're gonna expand out and apply for more, you can include some of those aspirational programs that you think are more competitive, you're less likely to get into. But if you can only apply for a few, make sure those are really targeted. If you know someone at a program who you think can vouch for you, apply to that one, right? So you could be targeted. It's just a matter of what your bandwidth is for applying to things. The more you apply to, the better chance you have. And if you have any of those underrepresented groups, if you are a community college student, if you are Pell Grant eligible, if you are a first generation college student or a minority, or the list goes on, right? Veteran, person with a disability, any of those, make sure that shows up somewhere in your application materials. You don't have to blare it. They probably are going to collect demographic information from you. Like when I ran 2 of these programs, we asked what your parents' education level was so that we could determine if you were the first in your family to go to college. So it can be, if they don't give you anywhere to mention something like that, you can write it into your personal statement. And that is definitely to your advantage. Let them know you're at a community college and you don't have much opportunity to do research at your institution, because that works in your favor for sure.
Gabriel, did you have one?
By all means. Is there any research opportunities that involve working with animals, birds specifically? And is there any close to Maryland, because I can't afford to travel far?
Yes, I guarantee you, because y'all have a big medical center there, right? Like a research center at University of Maryland, and they have a medical school.
I never been there.
Any place with a medical school is going to have a lot of animal research going on. And so they're going to have a lot of like lab tech jobs and summer research programs where you might be able to do animal work. And a lot of those are really great. The National Science Foundation REU program, the one that I was talking about that pays so well, just look through the listing of biology programs and maybe also marine science. Because a lot of those are going to have to do with animals as well. You're just going to have to pick and choose the ones that have mentors working with animals. You might also look at conservation nonprofits that are more animal focused. Even some of the animal rights groups have cool animal things going on. Some of the animal rights nonprofits, if you're interested in that area. Let me think of what else. If you're interested in more, are you interested in the vet side of animal care or research, wildlife conservation?
Wildlife mostly. What I meant was like working out in the field.
Oh, okay, great. Yes. Check those NSF REU programs, because there's going to be a lot of wildlife field stuff scattered amongst there. You're just going to have
The NSF REU program.
you're going to have to look
We'll
at
get a link to it. Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
you check those programs, they're going to have some that list specific wildlife research. You definitely should check some of the wildlife nonprofits. I know, do you have a wildlife rehabilitation center in your area too?
We have several, actually. We have a raptor center up in Boyd's, Maryland. There's a tri-state rehab center up in like Delaware. There's a lot.
Those programs offer a hands-on experience that it's hard to get elsewhere. The other thing to look at would be like Audubon Society. They often have bird banding programs and bird tracking programs and bird counts that you can get involved with.
Our DNR does that too.
Are they paid?
Those are not paid. I think those are volunteer, but there might be some.
Up to them, it's not paid.
That's the hope, I suppose.
The other thing you can look for with wildlife is if you're interested in sort of outreach and education, you can apply at nature centers and state parks, local parks, anywhere that would have interactions with kids and visitors. Some of them will hire summer interns just to do outreach and education about wildlife, to lead hikes, to run summer camps, all that kind of stuff. And that is a great experience to tell you whether you'd like to do outreach kind of jobs later on, because some people love that work and some people do not love that work.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when it comes to applying to different ones, is it better to apply to, like, is it almost better to apply to less things if they're more specific than to just apply to more things that you may be less interested or qualified for? And also, is it, in your experience with this stuff, is it more likely for people to be accepted if they have experience with things that are closer to specifically what that program is, or if it is something that maybe they don't have experience, but they're more interested in doing.
Yeah, so there is sort of a tension there. I could speak from experience with the National Science Foundation REU programs. Those REU programs are funded by the National Science Foundation, but they are run by researchers at universities. And the researchers would rather work with a senior in college who has a ton of experience and knows what they're doing. The National Science Foundation, who provides the money, is not very interested in funding seniors who are well established in their career track, because the whole goal of the program is to help people who are underrepresented in science persist in science careers. And the data shows that if you have a research experience early on in your track, right? So in high school, early in college, in community college, that you're way more likely to have like a really impactful experience that changes your career trajectory and makes you stay in science. So the National Science Foundation is pressuring the university level people to accept younger students, to accept students with less experience, because they want to catch you when you're young and really change your life, right? Like they want to make you love science. If you're a senior and you've already completed your whole science major, you already love science. You don't need to be encouraged to love science. So the National Science Foundation wants to get people young into these programs. The researchers want people with more experience. So I think the trade-off there is if you are young and don't have much experience, make sure you are showcasing those kinds of transferable skills, lab projects, class projects, like put all of that on your resume, put all of that on your LinkedIn, get your career counseling center to help you make that resume really shine. And then that will show them that although you don't have much research experience yet in a formal way, you do have the skills you need to succeed, to work collaboratively and smoothly as part of a team, to really contribute. Like they want to know you're a good bet, right? And if you can put enough stuff on your resume that shows you have the skills to succeed, you're a good bet, even if you don't have formal research experience.
So it's like almost better if, because I have some
Yeah,
experience with that, but it's
that's
like, for example, I really want to work with plants and I have experience working with like submerged aquatic plants, but I am less interested in the aquatic plants. So it's better to like highlight what like skills you have, but then also be clear in what you have not had the experience with yet so that they want to give you that experience.
yeah, I think that's the perfect balance. Like you're in a sweet spot there of, I know I'm super engaged with this topic. I love it. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Had some experience. Now I need a different kind of experience because I think that's where my passion really lies.
Okay. And if you're like, I am super passionate about this, but I don't have the experience, they're gonna be like, okay, we want to make sure that you get it.
Yeah.
Not like they're not gonna be like, oh, you're already passionate, so we're not trying to convince you.
I think you can kind of explicitly say in your personal statement, this is the kind of experience that I need to help me move in the direction that I want to move, that I think I want to move, right? Like that this is the kind of experience I need.
Okay.
This is going to help me make the next step.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what they're looking for. So I think you're in a good spot. Y'all feel free to get out there and link with me on LinkedIn. Link with everybody. Link with your fellow students, link with all your professors. You see recent graduates from your school. I'm assuming that your school has a LinkedIn alumni group because almost all schools do. And you can find that by Googling AACC LinkedIn alumni, and it'll usually take you right there. The cool thing about that is that you can search for discipline and for where people live. And so if you are interested in being an environmental consultant and you live in Maryland, you can search for that and you can go link with all of the graduates from your college that are currently environmental consultants in Maryland. The great thing about that is once you linked with them, you can send them messages. So the first step might be send them a quick message and say, you know, thank you so much for linking with me. I'm a current student. I would love to have a quick chat with you sometime. I would love to hear more about your career pathway. And that's called an informational interview. And it's a great way to just make a connection with somebody. That can very easily lead to an internship, a shadowing opportunity, something like that. So get out there and check out your LinkedIn community.
I think we have one more question from here and then we're shutting it down.
Sure.
Okay, I am the old guy in the room. I'm a retiree who's changing fields. I have studied geology, geography. I took a 30-year detour into military intelligence. I've done research in various fields, but now I'm changing fields. I'm looking to work in urban forestry. Most of these are not designed for someone like me. Is it even worth my time to apply to this, knowing that I need somebody who's, 20, I'm not looking for someone who's 60. Because they probably will figure I will not have much of a future in the field, considering I'm going to be collecting Social Security in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Speaking personally, I love having more mature students in my class and in my research group, and totally different perspective on why you're there, and it can really lift up the whole working group to have somebody there who is not 18. So I personally love that. It would depend on the funding limitations of the program, but theoretically, I don't think they should discriminate based on age. You might want to have a quick conversation with the director of whatever program you're applying for, just to make sure you qualify. But a lot of these government funded programs, I think they're not allowed to discriminate by age. So, I mean, I would go for it, and they'd probably love to have you because you bring really valuable perspective.
Thank you.
Experience, and can mentor the other students. And I mean, they may dump too much on you, but
Well, thanks again.
it was a pleasure, y'all. Thank you.
Of course. Just a few things before we get out of here, because I gotta jet pretty fast. I got 2 field trips on the books and in the pipeline, so we'll have some information coming on that within the next 2 weeks. We're also gonna include some links to fundraising and donation for the hurricane that just rolled through Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, Tennessee. If you're able to donate money or time, that'll be available. After the 12th, I may well go volunteer on site myself. That's kind of to be seen later. And then we have the AACC open house next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We will have a table in health and life science. If it's clear out, I'll have a telescope. Come and visit. Thanks for coming out. Everybody wave to the camera. Thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow, or we will see you next week. Malia, I will see you next weekend.
Somebody lose a green hair tie?